What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about the best tips for shorter wide receivers to create some separation, just to be a better overall player of the wide receiver position, okay? So I hope this video gives you guys some value, fellas, helps you out, which is some of the things that shorter guys can do off the line against physical guys, against guys who are maybe the same size, and guys that are faster, okay? So I hope this helps again. But also, fellas, if you guys want a full wide receiver training schedule, Monday through Friday, free wide receiver training schedule, check out that very first link in the description, fellas. We break down all the things you need to do from film study, working out, and working out on the field, working out in the gym, and just a set schedule that you guys could have this summer to improve your game. So check out that very first link in the description, fellas. It will give you a ton of value, full training schedule that you guys can model your own set of workouts after. Let's get started. So first thing I want to talk about here with shorter guys is you can't waste time, okay? So your game off the line of scrimmage, your game against press is not going to be doing all this fancy crap and like trying to make all these different moves. It's going to be something quick, and we got to get up into this route, because if this dude can, and this guy isn't the biggest dude in the world, they're about the same size, right? But if I'm up against a physical linebacker who's going to be trying to get hands, I got to make sure that the number one goal, no matter what, is to keep timing with my quarterback. That's one of the hardest things that smaller guys deal with, is that they can't keep timing because the guy's just bigger than them. So you got to beat them with what? You got to beat them with quickness, got to beat them with speed, because if you're on the shorter side and maybe you're not faster than the bigger physical guy, it's going to be tough. It's going to be real tough. It's just your technique has got to be outstanding. I'm not saying it can't be done, but you got to bring something to the table on the quickness and speed side if you're maybe on the shorter side, okay? So now, you see what Felton does right here is he just gives him a quick move, and then he just gets up into this route. He gives that little split release, and then he's just gone, taking the inside release on an out route. This is something that a lot of people won't do, because a lot of people think that, oh, you must take an outside release when it's an outside breaking route. That's not the case. You could take an inside release on an outside breaking route, an outside release on an outside breaking route. It really doesn't matter. You just got to make sure that we get up into the route, because the whole point of this jam is to screw up timing with the quarterback. His job is to get hands so you don't keep timing. Now, that's what I want to try to avoid, and that's what I want to do, being quick, getting up into the route, okay? So now, when we get to the top of the route right here, you see how he works this throw by, right? So when he works that throw by, this is a perfect example of trusting yourself at the top of the route to create some space. The space you create won't be off the line of scrimmage. Your DB's going to recover, right? Yeah, sometimes you could just totally punk this dude off the line, and that's that. However, you got to make sure that you take care of him at the top of the route, because the top of the route, this is where you get that separation. Inside release, outside breaking route, I work a throw by. If he lets me restack, I work something like a rocker step at the top. I always got a plan for whatever I'm doing, right? So you got to make sure you trust yourself at the top of the route. Got to make sure you have a plan off the line for when he's going to be coming and trying to throw hands and disrupt that timing with the quarterback. It's a perfect example of what shorter guys need to be able to do. Just make sure that you're quick off the line. You keep timing with that quarterback, because that's the number one most important thing. And trust yourself at the top of the route. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job using that split and then working that throw by at the top of the route and accelerating out to the break. The details matter, fellas. So now let's talk about this right from KJ Hill. So this is going to be a great example. This throw ultimately ended up incomplete, just a missed throw here. But I think that another thing that shorter guys really got to pay attention to, especially when maybe you're competing against a guy who's bigger, maybe a guy who's a little bit stronger, a little bit faster, is the details matter, right? So when you got the 6'4" guy, like let's say maybe you're like 5'8" and you're going up against a slot who's like 5'11", 6 foot, right? The details is what's going to separate you, and the details is what are going to make you stand out and make you better than that guy, because he obviously already has the size, he already has the speed, whatever it is. So the game comes a lot easier for him. So usually guys like that will neglect the details. So if you're a shorter dude, you got to make sure that we emphasize the details, and that's how you ultimately get the attention of a recruiter, a college coach, because you have those details that they're looking for, right? If you can play, you can play. That's just how it is at the end of the day. So now the detail that I want to focus on here is this restack, right? So again, Hill does something very similar to Felton off the line, something quick. Let's keep the timing. This guy's sitting in this catch technique because he wants you to just run out, get hands, and disrupt the timing. So I give him something quick. I keep the timing, especially because it's a dig route, and I know I'm getting the ball fast. And again, also receivers got to be smart, especially coming out of the slot, especially being on the shorter side. What you got to understand is that the quarterback, when it's man coverage like this, he doesn't have all the time in the world, unless it's like a max protection. Maybe it's like he's got 7 guys blocking for him. Maybe that's the only time that we maybe have a little bit of time to work against man coverage. But in this case right here, we know that I got to get up into this route fast, and I got to go make a move. So that's exactly what Hill does. Now, the details that I want to talk about here is this shoulder reduce, where he's ripping this shoulder through to make sure that I restack. When you're a shorter guy and you're able to get back over the top on a DB, that quick move at the top of the break is so dangerous because, again, like I said, you got to bring some kind of quickness to the table being on the shorter side, right? So when he gives this little quick rocker step at the top, he gives a quick 1-2, or this kind of almost like a open field crossover in a way, but still giving this head fake, giving that shoulder fake, actually throwing to the outside, throwing his hip. That's what gets that DB to shift, right? And again, it's the details that are going to get you open as a shorter guy. It's not going to be just because you're just a bigger, faster, stronger dude than this DB. Most of the time when you're going up against a strong safety and press, who's going to try to get hands, a linebacker, it's the details. It's the route running that's going to get you open. So as a shorter guy, like I said, number 2 tip that we're talking about today is the details matter to get you separation. At the top of the break, I just can't get away with just maybe throwing one hard cut. I got to throw a double cut. I got to do this rocker step at the top or this crossover and actually sell with my upper half, actually throw my hip to the outside because we know that's where that DB's watching. He's solely watching my hips, so I got to sell with my hips. The little things are what will get you open, fellas. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job keeping timing, working back over the top, then giving him that quick 1-2 at the top of the break. Great job making this play. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about, again, another detail of the game, another detail of a release, or another detail of just straight up cuts in general. Because again, if you're going up against a bigger physical dude who's maybe a great athlete, because corners are always great athletes, safeties good athletes, they're probably going to be able to cover a lot of ground. So we want to make sure that we have no wasted motion possible, right? So again, as a smaller guy, you want to try to eliminate the wasted motion, okay? So those are the 3 things, right? You want to have a quick plan off the line of scrimmage, keep timing with the quarterback. You want to make sure that you do the little things because the little things is what will separate you from the competition. Then number 3, you don't want any wasted steps or wasted time at the top of a route or the top of a break. Let's watch the thing again. Let's watch the thing full speed, then we'll break it down. So we're looking at this diamond release here. All I want to talk about is that cut, right? All I want to talk about is when he pops this thing off on the 3rd step, right? And again, details. What's he doing? Head down. Good pad level. He's in stride. That's what's going to make that DB to turn. That's going to make that DB turn, fellas. That's how you got to approach every single route that you do. The little things matter, and the little things are what going to get you the most separation, okay? So he's going to take off for 3 hard steps. So, right? So he gives a move here, 1, 2, 3, and he breaks this thing off. Now, most guys, when they break off at this 3rd step, what will they do? They'll hit this outside foot, then they'll take a 2nd step, 3rd step, and then they'll go off. And those 3 steps, right? Those 3, 1, 2, 3, will all be in the same spot. All that does, that gives that DB more time to react. Your cuts have to be crisp, especially when you're on the shorter side, because you got to be able to get in and out of routes, and you got to be able to get in and out of routes efficiently to be able to get to that ball and create as much space for yourself. Because a smaller guy going over the middle, it's a tough thing to do if you're not wide open. Because again, those guys like to get physical, they like to rip those hands, and they like to actually hit you when you're coming across the middle. So I got to make sure that I eliminate any time spent here. So when I make that cut, I want to make sure that it's sudden and I'm pushing off of that cut. That like inside part of my foot, I'm pushing off of there to make sure that when I open up my hips, I'm already down this 45-degree angle. I made this DB commit his hips. I'm not wasting any time at the top of the break. I'm opening up my hips and I'm gone. I'm accelerating down that line because my goal is to win that race back to the ball and continue to pump my arms. This is all the separation we need, especially going over the middle against a bigger physical DB. Maybe I'm on the shorter side, so your cuts have to be crisp. Everything you do has to be efficient, and you can't have any wasted steps. Like I said, details, fellas, especially when you're trying to get to that next level and you don't pass that eye test, right? Somebody asked me the other day, oh, if I don't pass the eye test, are they not going to pay attention to me, right? It's going to be tough to grab their attention, but you got to make sure that's what you have. This is how you grab their attention. You got to be able to showcase that I can run good routes. I can create separation. I can beat press. I'm going to do everything that you ask of me except be tall, right? That's literally what you have to do to stand out when you're not that tall, right? Now, if you're like 5'3" and you could do all this stuff, it's going to be a lot harder. But again, you can still get your education paid for it. And at the end of the day, that's the goal. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. So great job coming off here and using this diamond release, not wasting any time at the top of that break and being able to accelerate off this route. All right, guys, we want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. I always appreciate any feedback you guys give. Helps me come up with new ideas, so I appreciate it. And again, fellas, free wide receiver training schedule, Monday through Friday program for the summer for athletes. So there's really no school involved in this program. So it's when you guys are off, a great program that you could do. Talk about film study, talk about working out, talking about on-field workouts. So hope you guys can check that out soon. Very first link in the description. I'll see you guys next time.